Otherwise,
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to change that? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is 8:30 and time for us to do all the good work. All right, so first of all, last call, if you have not submitted topics for next year's meeting, please scan the QR code at the top or go to the link in the email that Kyle sent you and submit those, because once we turn the page to this, your chance to do that disappears forever. I want to welcome you to day 3 of the debate topic meeting. Hopefully you have had a great evening last night exploring Milwaukee. It's been a great place to be, and we thank everyone who's here. When we get to what we're going to do now is we're going to do the review of the resolutions and how the rules work for this. So first thing we're going to do, and Kyle forgot to tell you this, we need to get a spreadsheet up with all the attendees. Okay. We're actually going to pause this for a moment while I figure that part out, because I forgot one. Okay, so what's going to happen now is the roll call of delegates is Kyle's going to shout out the state that everyone has registered for. The voting delegate is going to signify they are here for voting by saying here. All right, Kyle.
Arkansas.
Okay, we'll have to wait for Paul.
California.
He's right there. Okay, we're going good right now.
DC/Maryland.
Great. Make sure you yell here loudly, please.
Florida. Georgia. Illinois.
Here.
Indiana.
Here.
Kansas.
Here.
Massachusetts.
Here.
Michigan.
Here.
Minnesota.
Here.
Mississippi.
Here.
Missouri.
Here.
New York.
Here.
Oklahoma. Oregon.
Here.
Pennsylvania.
Sorry, that's Colleen.
Texas.
Here.
Washington.
Here.
Wisconsin.
Here.
Wyoming. Here. The NAUDL.
Here.
The NCFL. Here. The NDCA.
Here.
The NSDA.
Here.
So Kyle, do you want to get a total number of voting delegates? Oh, hopefully there's no, here comes California.
Hold on.
So why don't you yell voting delegate for California?
Voting delegate from California.
Here.
Here.
Great. How many different voting delegates we have? Let's get that counted. All right, what we're going to do next is we'll have a review of each resolution. Nicole will run us through as the chair of the wording committee for each resolution. She will entertain amendments if there are any. These should be egregious amendments. So if something is from the topic, that is where we're in the amending process. And we spent 8 hours talking about these yesterday, so they should all be in good shape. But if there's something egregious that was discovered, that's when we change it. If a topic resolution is open, there's a 10-minute time limit that will be set for each topic discussion. Only voting delegates may offer amendments. It has to be a first and a second, and then voted on to open the amendment. Everybody good on all that stuff? There you go, Nicole.
All right. Okay. I'm good.
Good.
You can have my microphone.
That'd be funny, like, impressive joke.
All right, China resolves the United States federal government to substantially increase its strategic competition with the People's Republic of China. Are there any amendments? Global climate change resolved, the United States federal government to substantially increase its support of multilateral greenhouse gas emission reduction regimes. Is there an amendment? Global geopolitical crisis, emerging technologies. Resolved, the United States federal government should substantially increase its security cooperation with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization in one or more of the following areas: artificial intelligence, biotechnology, cybersecurity. Is there an amendment? Global health security. Resolved, the United States federal government should substantially increase its international support for global health security against naturally occurring infectious disease. Is there an amendment? Russia. Resolved, the United States federal government should substantially increase its diplomatic engagement with the Russian Federation on one or more of the following: the Arctic, cybersecurity, human rights. Is there an amendment? Treaties. Resolved, the United States federal government should consent to be bound by the entirety of one or more of the following: Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, Convention on Biological Diversity, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Is there an amendment? United Nations peacekeeping. Resolved, the United States federal government should substantially increase cooperation with the United Nations on peacekeeping. Is there an amendment? United Nations international actor. Resolved, the United Nations should establish a permanent rapid reaction force and or substantially expand the role of women in peacekeeping operations. Is there an amendment? Gender equality. Resolved, the United States federal government should substantially increase its support of international gender equality initiatives. Is there an amendment?
All right, so now is the time where our topic authors will be coming up for an advocacy session. Each topic selection author is given 3 minutes to advocate for their topic area. A caucus period will be allowed for attendees and voting delegates to discuss the topics following the round of all authors to advocating for their particular topic. Following the 10-minute caucus period, voting by the delegates will commence. So how this works here is this is not a public forum per se. The authors have their chance to say, here's what I believe this makes a good topic, and here's why I think you should vote for it. When that is all done, you can caucus with your groups of people, walk around to other groups of people, do your thing you want to do, to talk about and advocate for topics. And then at the end of that 10-minute period of time, there'll be a QR code on the screen you scan to get to the ballot. The ballot is also on the website under ballot, very cryptically named. And we'll go ahead and vote for the first round of topics. Also, when we get to that as well, how that works is the first round, we will eliminate 2 topics. The second round will eliminate 1 topic, and the third round will be our final 5 topic areas. So everyone's aware of. Any questions before we begin? Okay, so authors, we're going to go in the same order again. Please stand up and come to the front of the room to advocate. Kevin's got a timer, and your time will begin when you get to the front of the room. So, China.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and present my topic of China. I think that every author on their chosen topic has value and has worth and it is important to be recognized. On this particular topic, to paraphrase an author in my paper, Madero's, a distinguished chair at Georgetown University, the U.S.-China relationship is one of the most important and consequential relationships in the globe. He also says that the Biden administration's approach to competition with China is now a paramount question for leaders in the United States and Asia and globally. The challenge for U.S. policymakers, business leaders, and scholars to understand the nature of the competition now and in the future, and to ensure U.S. responses are both robust and flexible enough to keep up with the challenge is very important. China is going to be and continue to be a very important topic, not only for ourselves as adults who vote, but also to our students who will be entering the voting round. And I think that it's important to our students and our kids as it relates to global politics. It's a very important topic. Now, one of the questions that came up out of the Marshall Subcommittee and yesterday is, why is the topic so broad? And I think that it's first to understand it's not as broad as it first seems, and that the wording gives a dependable position to the negative. Regardless of the area chosen by the affirmative, the question is always why a competitive or a competition rather than a cooperative stance? If the chosen area were space, why not engage China in cooperative space programs? If the chosen area within this topic is cybersecurity, why not use diplomacy rather than pressure? I think that these are all important areas. We got to remember that strategic competition is the main focus of this particular topic. Strategic competition includes political, military, economic, and cultural ties. I think that for our students, it really gives us an avenue to find something that interests them, not just interest us. I think it's something that we can educate them about what strategic competition is, because throughout their lives and throughout the way that they come up into the world, they're going to strategically compete with other people that are standing right next to them. It doesn't mean that they have to be our enemy, but it does mean that we have to compete with them, and we have to strategically compete with them to make sure that we stand out and that we have a voice that touches other people. The same thing is true with the United States. We have to strategically compete. We have to teach our students how to engage strategically. But at the same time, we also have to understand that strategic competition comes at cost. And so on the negative side of things, we have to balance that with cooperation. We have to balance that with a variety of other tasks on building allies and friends. Time.
Thank you for having me. I am a teacher by trade, so I like to make people do weird exercises. If you are comfortable, close your eyes for a minute. The reason I am asking you to close your eyes is because this topic is kind of a gut check. While you have your eyes closed, I want you to spend like 10 seconds thinking as a person and an educator, not just as a debate coach. Do you think that this is a topic that our students should be debating in 2022? When you are done with that, open your eyes. I just want people to have a minute with them, because I think it's really, really easy for us to say as kind of, debate coaches who have been doing this for a long time, we'll eventually get to that topic, or maybe there's something that's more strategic. But the reason I am such a fierce advocate for the climate topic is that I think it's important for all students to learn about, particularly in an era where under 15% of social studies teachers get to talk about climate in their classroom without fear of political repercussions. I also think it's one of those things that it's convenient to just kick down the road, but I am afraid if we do not get to it now, we will never get to it. I think this topic has something for everyone. If you are a fierce national circuit competitive coach, and you can vote for this topic, and you can know that your kids will have great debates, but not by taking away identity-based arguments, not by taking away a level of approachability for an urban debate league teacher who does not have time to learn about a hyper-complex international issue that would never come up otherwise. This topic is for every single debater, every single region. It is for rural students, it is for urban students, it is for students of color, it is for suburban students. Everyone has an access point for this topic. And I would like you to think not just about the types of debates you would prefer, but the types of debates that are for all students when you approach this topic ballot. Thank you.
Weird for me to get up and start a timer. It's been a long time since I had to do that. Thank you all for letting me be a part of this experience this year in person Nfhs. Thanks, ma'am, for bringing me along this writing process. We need your help, and we present to this body our topic and our resolution, which to us is of key importance to all of our students and to everybody in our society at this moment in time. Specifically, we think that this is probably one of the most effective methods to introduce international actors in our educational space to students, and that introducing international actors in the debate space to students is crucial right now. So we produce a unique resolutional option for our community, and we need your support to help create understanding in the community so that as to why this topic is important and how we should be approaching this topic in our community. We know it will fill a knowledge gap that exists in our education system that our existing curriculums just don't cover with sufficient depth in any other way. The United States is at a turning point where we're faced with reconceptualizing a new role in global politics, and to successfully navigate international relationships, the next generations must understand the challenges and threats that face every citizen in our society. The Global Geopolitical Crisis Emerging Technology paper offers the best chance to introduce young people to the very issues that will challenge this planet after most people in this room have left this planet. This morning, we conclude with the 3 reasons I offered as we opened on Friday: timeliness, accessibility, and pedagogy. First off, timeliness. It's not just timeliness in education, it's timeliness in society. We all talked about how at the recent June NATO meeting, Joe Biden committed to NATO allies that we'd restore our relationships, and we know that the United States is at a turning point. We know that young people need to understand the larger relationship between the United States and NATO and allied member states in a quickly globalizing 21st century world, because we need to inform our electorate. And we know that we need to understand the changing role of the United States in the larger global community, and our discussions of Russia and China this week show that that's the case. But most importantly, it's up to us as educators to demonstrate that we will create informed citizens, as debate-centered instruction is a crucial means to build discourse long term. Secondly, accessibility. We want to develop life connections to 21st century skills, the very skills our business community and society is crying for. Again, this is for all students, rural, urban areas, east to west coast, of all backgrounds and upbringings. There are possible career areas for students that include foreign service, politics, science, biotechnology, health, computer security, robotics, medicine. The list is endless. In addition, it can be scaffolded effectively to create appropriate packets for middle schools, novice packet development, and all circuits of debate. Refer to page 66, paragraphs 1 and 2 of our paper if you have any questions. Finally, pedagogical values. Our STEM-centered focus is critical for tech readiness and the appropriate skill set for kids. We don't want to constrain educational perspectives in the United States. This is all about college and career readiness and creating intrinsic motivation for active learners in a project-based environment that is debate. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to advocate for our topic. Back in June, typed Global Health Security in Google Scholar. The first result was an article titled Global Health Security, Security for whom, security for what? For me, that was my why. In this article, Dr. Simon Rushton criticizes the concept of viewing health issues as concerns of national security. He argues that historically, the global north has seen diseases as external threats to be contained before reaching our shores. These same diseases are often already endemic in the global south, and stopping them from reaching the global north often does little for the millions already suffering in the global south. Rushton concludes that this results in the justifiable fear that the global south are merely tools to be used to protect We know that the international response to COVID validated these fears. We know the policy implications of this divide are an important concern that have rarely been debated at the high school level. I am chilled by the thought that the Council for Foreign Relations identified 6 major disease outbreaks from 1899 to 2002, yet the CDC had 11 major disease outbreaks from 2002 to 2020. The reality is that we know this generation of youth will be among the first to bear the responsibility of creating thoughtful, effective, long-term public policy that leads our global society through a new era of frequent international infectious disease outbreaks. We believe that we have a uniquely accessible topic which will engage debaters with a fresh literature base. Initially, global health security is a cross-disciplinary subject. It lies at the intersection of foreign policy, national security, and public health. Students have not engaged in this debate since 2008. This means that debaters will be provided timely, balanced, and novel affirmative and negative ground while also a variety of voices from different communities. Additionally, global health security engages students differently with the topic. Debaters will be debating areas of the world often ignored by this community, including, but not limited to, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. The topic expects us to address systemic concerns such as international responses to malaria as an affirmative rather than simply an impact scenario. And the questioning of inherent assumptions about power, privilege, race, and gender are central to healthcare and viable ground for debate. Finally, the global focus of this topic means it will be informed by COVID, but not controlled by it. Students already have an awareness of the academic vocabulary, core concepts, strengths and failings of governmental systems responsible for pandemic response. This makes for an accessible topic which allows all students an entry point to transfer their prior knowledge to the debate space. Recognizing that students come from to debate from different life experiences, the benefit of the international aspect of the topic is that it shifts the conversation outwards. That helps to depersonalize the topic for those who have suffered personal loss. For these reasons, we hope that you, along with Dr. Rushton, share our why. We believe that the topic of global health security should receive your vote to move forward and be placed on the national ballot for the 2022-23 high school topic, and we appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I keep mine short and sweet, especially since Russia was discussed last year and discussed ad nauseum online in the past year. But the Russia topic is not one that is going to go away. Vladimir Putin is a problem and a thorn in the side for the United States and other countries in the world. Things like this discussed. We haven't discussed Russia in 20 years, and I think it's time that we do have a valuable discussion on Russia again. This topic is easily accessible to pretty much everybody, from the most experienced debate coach to the most experienced debater to that English teacher that's teaching for the first time, debate for the first time. Russia is one of those subjects that's unavoidable, and we should really have a nice, robust debate about it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to start with my offense. First is differentiation. Students have the ability to start to learn about important and interesting information that interests them. One of the key questions that comes up in a lot of debates is breadth versus depth. This topic allows students to go in depth on topic areas that interest them while also learning about treaties and other things. Second, it's not something they learn in schools. Only 32% of Americans can name the 3 branches of government. Students who debated this topic would be learning about the treaty process, which is really important because it's foundational to how decisions are made in the American government. Questions about what is the role of the United States federal government abroad? What commitments do they make are really interesting and worth exploring. One thing that hasn't come up this weekend is that I think this topic is great for the K. We have not had a topic that is good for things like FEMIR, the Shapiro Borders Critique, settler colonialism, case of American exceptionalism in several years, and I think this topic would be good for that. The way that I have constructed the topic means that the apps have to defend the entire treaty, means that there's actual net ground for things like PICs and stuff other than the federalism DA and the state's counterplan. It's good for novices. It's an interesting topic debate leagues because there's literature available in multiple languages and the differentiation stuff I talked about earlier. Finally, it's accessible for everyone. Even novices or the youngest elementary school debaters understand the basic idea of a curfew treaty or agreements that you make with people in your life. It also allows for high-level debates, as I said, about the role of the U.S. abroad and grapple with some big questions that our students should be discussing, especially because they don't learn about it in schools. Finally, this topic also includes some other topics. You can talk about NATO, the role of women, Russia, if you vote for the treaties topic. A little bit of defense. The biggest argument against this topic is going to be that there's only 8 acts. We've had 3 years of functionally no limits on the act. It resulted in functionally unlimited topics that don't really defend anything. There's so many different advantages: multilateralism, piracy, South China Sea conflict, modeling, the Arctic, etc., that check the fact that there's only 8 acts and there's so many different advantages that you create. I also think fewer acts is better than picking and choosing random parts of treaties, which is why I've constructed the topic to defend the entire treaty on the act. The next objection that I think people might make is that the literature is too dense. I don't think this topic links any harder to that than some of the other topics in the room. And students proved that they were able to access the information when we had good debates about things like TN Acts that required them to look at law reviews. I am confident that students can research and innovate, and the fact that the literature is available in foreign languages means that it's great for English language learners. I want to thank you for your time and your consideration. Treaties would be an outstanding topic. Please vote for it.
If I don't have my notes, I'm going to go on forever. First of all, I want to thank my co-author, Ryan Neerman, who was first attempt at doing a topic paper. He did a fantastic job. We have a well-researched, well-grounded paper that I'm sure all of you have found to have all the information necessary to support this topic. And that's really important because it is an important topic. With the United States recentering itself in the international world, it is really important for the US to step up right now and collaborate with the United Nations. We have had a sporadic at best commitment to the United Nations. There had been talk in the previous administration about withdrawing. It's time for us to step up now and reestablish our role in the United Nations. Given the fact that the United States is one of the most influential countries within the United Nations, it's important to look at it from that perspective. And it's important for our students now to examine the role of the United States in the United Nations and internationally. Oops, there we go. This topic is available to all levels of students. You can have a lot of fertile ground for novice packets, plus you can get the depth of argument and issues that would be involved with critique debate or policy debate for some of your varsity debaters. You can not only deal with current peacekeeping operations and talk about the ineffectiveness of those or the lack of several issues within those, but we can look at future or failed peacekeeping operations, Afghanistan being one of them. We can look at what caused the failure of many of the other ones and deal with that. But it also expands it into other areas, which is why we kept the wording as peacekeeping as opposed to operations, because now we can look at things like cybersecurity. We can look at space. We can look at energy. We can look at human rights. We can look at women in peacekeeping. We can look at rapid reaction force. We can look at gender equity, war on drugs, terrorism, all those things that impact peacekeeping that the United Nations has a role in. And all of those things are extremely important in understanding our international role and how it fits into the United Nations as a whole. And I'll yield whatever extra time I have. Thank you.
I would like to start by thanking all of you for going on the journey with me that was this resolution. It was a lot of time yesterday. There was a lot of thought going on. And I really appreciate the fact that when I climbed out on that lonely limb, I actually had friends join me. And so I thank you all for that. this is the only topic on the list, and I guess that's because I made that choice when I wrote the paper. This is the only topic on the list which doesn't place the United States front and center in the world of discussing things that are international. And I think that is the most important reason why we should have the chance to at least think about debating this topic, and it should be on the final ballot. Because yes, there are outstanding topics here. All of the topics are outstanding, but there's only one, this one, which says, let's not think of the world through the United States' eyes. Let's think of the world from a global perspective through the United Nations' eyes. And that I think is probably the most important selling point. Beyond that, as I've said before, the literature is in many languages. The UN's website is very simple, very clear descriptions of how things work and the different parts and the different missions that the UN has been engaged in or could be engaged in. There's a wealth of suggestions on what could be done to improve the UN, especially with respect to peacekeeping and to the involvement of women and others in the process. And I think that in that world, we really don't have to worry about accessibility the way I know a lot of international actor topics really would. Additionally, it really is a test case. And I started the process by pointing that out as well, that there has been a lot of discussion about international actors. And I think there may even be another bit of discussion on that later today. And so this is supposed to be a test of, does an international actor, the most accessible international actor, I would argue, does that actor actually have a role to play in our debating, or should we really remain focused on the US perspective on the world? And ultimately, that's the question I want to leave you with, or perhaps so you can answer that for yourselves. Do we want to change our students' perspective from a US-centric one, at least possibly, to a global-centric one? And so if we do, please vote for my topic.
Morning, everyone. I just want to start by saying that, the way that we came to this topic is truly for students. At one of our tournaments, we asked the students, what do you want to debate about? And their top option was they wanted to debate about women's rights, and they wanted to debate about gender equality. So this is the paper that we wrote for them. So I'm really happy to be able to say. I think some of the concerns that came out of subcommittees and out of the meeting from yesterday was that people were concerned that there would be offensive debates and that people will make offensive arguments. Ultimately, that's going to happen in any debate topic that we choose, unfortunately, right? Because they're just different. Students are coming from different locations. Don't necessarily always know the right thing to say, especially in competitive environments. But also, I think the important thing is that sometimes we need to have those offensive conversations. Sometimes we need to know what people are thinking in order to work on that behavior. I've been in plenty of debate rounds where students have said pretty horrible things. But when we actually sat down and had a conversation about it, it was truly out of a place of not understanding, and that they felt grateful to be able to have the opportunity to kind of reform that behavior. And so even though this might do some harm, I think that the conversations that we have and the improvements that we make in our students' lives and their culture is going to outweigh any of those harms. The second concern was the negative, and I think one of the greater debates that I think is really important just for the efficacy of our students is the equality versus equity debate, right? This is a very powerful debate that promotes student, that empowers student voice, right? This debate gets students thinking, is it enough to treat everybody the same, or should we be making differential for the needs of individual groups? And so I think that as they grow up, they can learn about whether or not being treated the same is good enough. And I think that's a really important debate. There's also the diplomatic capital DA and foreign aid, and there's also the cultural DA, where we can talk about whether or not the Western standards of how we treat our genders can be applied to other countries. There's also a lot of, there's relations disads with other countries, there's process counterplans, and lots of K-ground. But I think the most important part about this topic is the impact. I think it's very clear, even in this room, There is not an equal balance of gender representation in this room right now, and that also reflects our debate. And I think if we truly want to make a commitment to having a more diverse community, we need to create topics that make those people seem seen. It shouldn't be a subsection, they shouldn't be an add-on, it should be the center. If we truly care about having more young women in debate and empowering these young women voices, and allow them to do that and not have like it as a subsection where people can say, well, that's not what we're talking about right now. And I think when we center the people who are most vulnerable, who are the most unheard, that's how we get women joining back to debate. That's how we increase our diversity. And I mean, even as coaches, as I'm going to speak to our male coaches in the room, if you don't have like female debaters on your team, maybe this is a sign that you can signal to them that you're someone who's on their side.
Yes.
I'm representing two organizations.
All right. Thank you, authors, for all of the recaps on all the topics. A lot of good discussion and a lot of great things to think about as you discuss in your caucus times. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through the voting process, and everybody have 10 minutes to caucus at the moment. There's some space in the room next door. There's lots of space in the hallway. There's lots of space in this room. You can go to the lobby. Just don't order anything from the bar. We should be good. Oh, every disclaimer has a reason. All right. So with this, your 10-minute caucusing time begins.
May we submit the votes during this time also?
You sure could if you would like. Yes.
I don't know. Anyone that's an NSBA member or should contribute to that.
Oh, yeah.
I like
I think I got it. Any conversation with already standing up here.
And now, like now,
Yes. Yes. At least in the first round. Y'all ready for your Go get a presentation, right? Yes.
What happened? Hence why, like, I needed somebody to wake me up. It's a really fun. I like how
I'm excited. So like I came down to be like, these are all really cool. Just emailed out. Yeah. So I had to like recalibrate real quick, which wasn't hard. Just like formalize and say yes, that. But then yeah, and like you said, like the representation side of things, like I wish it was as good as
You have 1 minute to finish your conversations, and then we'll start submitting the votes.
Yes. Of course.
Ten seconds. I'm putting it up. I'm putting it up on the screen. So you could go All right, time is up for caucusing. If you need to submit your ballot through a smartphone or other sort of mobile device, you can scan the QR code, it'll take you right to the ballot. Otherwise, remember that it's on the Nfhs debate topic selection page, and you're able to submit your vote then. It'll take a couple minutes for everyone to submit votes. And we are so far missing about 9 votes. Still missing 3 votes. Oh.
Thank you.
Still missing 2 votes. Okay. But you're not the only one. There's another one who's not saying anything. Also, we're waiting. If you have not submitted a final topic or topic proposals for next year, they are due in 11 minutes. So submit those as well. That's my last call. Sure. Still missing 1 vote. Has any delegate in here not submitted a vote? Okay, so I'm still missing one vote. I'm gonna go through and who I have, and then so this is a non-alphabetical order. This is the order you submitted. So we see who was first. So I've got Kansas, Michigan, Georgia, Mississippi, Missouri, NDCA, Washington, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Oregon, Arkansas, NCFL, Massachusetts, Illinois, Minnesota, NSDA, Texas UIL, National Urban Debate League, California, DC, Maryland. If I did not say you're a state organization, you need to submit your vote. Otherwise, we're going with these votes. I think, did we say New York? I did not say New York. Okay, try it one more time. I'm gonna make sure we don't miss it. That's right. I'll figure it out. It's the worst part of the day.
Scroll down.
All right, here we go.
My question, where's Steve go?
All right, here we go. All right. Here is the vote for, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay, so here are the vote totals for round one. So we are eliminating two topics. And our two topics we're eliminating in round one is China and United Nations International Act. Okay, here are the vote totals. Okay. Round one. We are eliminating. All right, We will now go to our second round of voting, so I can find our mouse. And you may begin your 10 minutes of boxing time now. It is not the same link to put things. Oh, gotcha, okay. I just want you to excuse me in the room.
At some point,
Screenshot that, take a picture. Just there. There we go. Thank you. It was up too quickly and I couldn't get a chance to take a look at it. Thank you.
Just remember that that's what we do.
Okay, thank you.
apparently mine doesn't either, and I
People don't change their votes.
Well, that's, I know, that's what.
My county is a blue county. Well, we have the only Democratic.
Yes. I mean, not that it's. We like that too.
Yeah,
Oh, now you people, your friend. Hear that? Yeah.
Iowa State Fair. We're like, okay, we already have it booked.
Oh my gosh.
Having a number of people.
Oh, yeah, so I.
No, I'll get back to it. I did really actually, yeah, they normally sell out like 5 minutes out late, like 8 a.m., but Friday, in between our like between the panel sessions and our something available. So I don't think at least it's lots of it. Yeah. I've been there a couple of times, but never like all the way up this way. You have to go all the way up. Yeah, I mean, also mean to stick around for like talk to the yeah, we can talk to
Upstairs, like the second floor.
Yeah, I would
Yeah. Situation. Yeah, yes. There you go. Yeah.
I think so.
You know, like sometimes like, you know, I've got that, kind of, navigate that, but it wasn't,
things like that, but it just makes things very exciting. I was, like you said, just the 15 minutes, which is relationships are there. It sucks. They're in a position where, but trust us that they. The power. It's like. I was just like. Sometimes obviously.
Are you here tonight?
I think that a lot of teachers are very like, I'm not gonna go back to this procedure.
I did, yeah.
All right, boxing time is done. Please go ahead and submit your votes. Here's the QR code for vote number 2 if you need it. Otherwise, I'm sure you use the link on the website. All right, boxing time is done. Please go ahead and submit your votes. Here's the QR code for vote number 2 if you need it. Otherwise, I'm sure you use the link on the website. There's not a rush right now, but there's still missing one vote. It is. I sure do. Hang tight, everybody. Every question.
I still give them a speaking.
Hey, Kyle, can you add a link? I'm going to send you a link right Okay, everybody, so we have a tie. Oh, just wait, just wait. Oh, wait, hold on, hold on. Don't do it yet. It's because after I counted the first time, somebody voted again. Anytime. Oh, wait, hold on. Remember the number. It doesn't change. Doesn't change. Each by one. Okay, Kyle, go ahead and put that link on the website. Okay, we still have a time. All right, so we have a tie on the elimination for United Nations peacekeeping and gender equality. What we'll do is we will have a 10-minute caucusing period. There's a new link on the website. So is everybody getting their link that way? Do you need a QR code? That's good. All right. Is it on there? All right. So it's on the website. It's called Round 2 Runoff. Please go ahead and you may caucus for 10 minutes and we will be back with what our 6 topics are for the final round of voting. All right. Okay.
It's called what on the website?
So I'm gonna look at how we voted last round, and if we have like we're interested in the ballot.
It should be on the meeting materials webpage. What?
There's like multiple. Like we've been waiting for results on tab and everybody keeps refreshing.
The ones that are eliminated to be gone.
Ballot's not through.
Yeah.
It's working on it.
Just keep hitting refresh so it pops up there.
Kyle's also gonna email everybody.
It's on there for fun. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I'll Yep. Thank you.
Just so you know, there's a lot of people are getting around ballot on the website.
Kyle's emailing you. Kyle's
There it is.
All right, that's what I.
You're gonna vote for the one you want. Just vote for one topic, you're voting for the one you want. Keep. We only vote the affirmative.
That's good.
Careful.
Always not out. Accurate.
You have to vote.
Didn't I tell you to decide?
Yeah, on my computer. There it is. Oh, here, I'll fix it.
Yep.
It's the easiest way to make the timer on concrete.
I've been running the. Because I figured out. Just have a camera across the top, and have the animation take a minute to get all the way to the end.
Oh, that's
Like a
good.
1 minute time part.
That's a really good.
Okay.
So much. You probably want to jump on. All right, I can just put it on. I'll put it on. It's the same. That's the same.
I just want to make sure what we're talking about. I will do, but I think I like. Oh, you know, I got.
That was like a free fair.
I bought 9.
7 whiskey, 7 people.
Yes, so they're my. I'm just trying.
No, see, what actually calls it. Yeah, that's right. What are you using?
Sausage and cheese. We are taking sausage and cheese.
Oh, yeah. I was born in Milwaukee, 10 miles. And my family was big into the German. My mother's making That's solid. And so. Than any other one. And it's specifically called for yeah, and Connie, but try script if you like white cheese. Like, yes, this is really white cheese. It is excellent. It is not hard, it's hard to find sometimes. It's hard to like. Oh.
I don't say I've never actually.
If that's in the right format, I can send you like Excel. Or do you want to cut some copy? So that's good?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Now they don't have. That's good. They got that.
Maybe next year.
I follow.
It's really good.
I follow this challenge.
Thank you, sir.
So Brad, you're not taking everything you need, obviously. You have something on them. Sorry.
What a weird.
But you have a little bit of time. Monday. Okay. Oh, wow. Get any down there.
Well, I know how they work together.
I've heard really good things. What about the advice? I just think it's time.
I will.
But you know, I have more now.
So I'm gonna watch this like finally.
Okay, everybody, looks like everyone's submitted their selections. So here is the runoff results. So it looks. So United Nations peacekeeping will move on to the final balloting round. Okay, we have round 3, caucusing and voting. That'll begin now. Oh, yeah. Hold on one second. So, let me get back to. Okay, so here is the round 3 ballot. Are in the round 3 ballot. We still have global climate change, global geopolitical crisis, emerging technologies, global health security, Russia, treaties, United Nations peacekeeping. You only eliminate one. So that you choose 5, right? So you're picking the 5 you want. Okay, now your time. So you choose 5. Picking the 5.
See, Jim, the same conversation.
I know.
Wine licking at the end of the hour.
Yeah, particularly. Yeah, it was. It's all I asked.
Yay, perfect. Yes. Well, 5 But it's done. That works. There's gonna be the issue with it.
Okay, because I saw that the in town. Okay, see, yeah. Here's the. Okay, perfect. All right, thank For sure, for sure.
From what I was reading.
Everybody? Here's your QR code if you still need us to vote for round 3. Here's your QR code if you still need to vote for round 3. All right, we have all of our voters are voted in. So here are your top 5 topics for the national ballot that'll be going out later this month. We'll have global climate change, geopolitical crisis, emerging technologies, global health security, Russia, and treaties. So congratulations to those 5 members. So concluding the business.
No, how dare you expect to know what the top 5 are?
Going once. Twice. All right, so those 5 authors need to remember after we get through the business meeting today, you'll be staying afterwards for the 5 authors to work with the wording committee on your description paragraphs for a synopsis to go out on the ballot. So please don't stay here. Wording committee members, reminder that we're also staying here to finish up those synopsis paragraphs. All right, congratulations to those 5 authors. Okay, we will start the business meeting in about 10 minutes. Everyone go take a break. Let's see what time it is. Okay, so I'll give you guys 12 minutes. We'll be back here at 10:20. Sure, yeah, at 10:20.
And so I allowed it to convince me to do that, which is Sunday. I mean, I couldn't see. The answer was, it was the first hour and a half, 25. On the way back, I went way around, and that wasn't a piece of cake, but at least it wasn't quite down the nerve.
Think about it.
Oh, I'm okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. That I don't know. I know that.
That'd be nice. Can't avoid that. Have fun. Thanks, Ryan. I will.
It's so great to see.
Good luck.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, yeah.
I know he's like a polarizing guy, but we email a lot about like random debate stuff.
Well, thank you. She does, have us, she's always like, these are group chat afterwards, I can't believe these people.
It's really frustrating. We'll spend like 3 hours discussing something else. Like I think we argued for 2.5 hours about whether we were gonna add a JD or not. I think it's hard being a bunch of very strongly opinionated people. But as like a professional development writer, it's so great to know
I mean, like sometimes it's like, oh, your kid's reconnect, so like, you almost like.
So I'm just gonna switch to that part.
So it is like.
All right, ready? Here we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to do the business meeting now for the Nfhs Policy Debate Selection Committee. Thank you very much for all of your great work that we had this weekend. It was very nice for me to see everybody in person again and to have a meeting with the conversation. So I want to start off with that. Thank you. We have a couple of thank yous to make happen with our new wording committee members, Eric Odo, Sam Norrington, and Colleen Mooney. Never easy being in the wording committee with these three new folks on here on the process. Whenever we talk about how we're doing with leadership components, so it's hard to say goodbye to people, especially when it's our chair. And Nicole has done a great job facilitating the meeting and doing the things. So Nicole, I want to give you a small token of our appreciation to the Nfhs. And then if you would like to say anything to the group at large, you're more than welcome to. I did not tell you that in advance. All right. Some other thank yous. I want to thank all the report topic authors. Great job on everything going through today. Lots of great content and thorough content. I would encourage, if you wrote a paper this year, I would highly encourage you to write a paper next year. And hopefully you found this process rewarding, both personally and professionally. I want to thank Kevin Minch, who does all sorts of things in the background that nobody really knows. But he does, we would all know that they're not being done. So I want to thank Kevin. I'd also like to thank Kyle Mills. There is a lot that happened in this pandemic that was crazy, including my bandwidth was shrunken dramatically dealing with the pandemic stuff. Kyle stepped up in a huge way, and almost everything you see orchestrated here today has to belong to what Kyle's good work has done. So thank you to Kyle for everything he's done. That cannot be overstated, so please thank Kyle on your way out. And then all the attendees, we had 47 delegates from 19 states and 4 national organizations in attendance today. We're excited about having all of you here, and it's been a great meeting. So, national ballot timeline. Now we have our 5 topics selected. Here is the timeline moving forward. So at the end of August, so at the end of August, all the ballots will be emailed out to everybody with the 5 topics resolutions, also with the synopsis paragraphs from the authors and the wording committee. The first ballot is due on October 15th, 2021. Then we'll announce the final 2 topics on October 22nd. So it'll be a quick turnaround on our end. The final ballots we do January 4th, and we announce the final topic on January 10th of 2022. This may seem like it is a long way out, however, it is really not. One thing we want to make sure that you do if you're in a state association leadership component or an organization, we give you this amount of time between first and second announcements and when they're due, so you can go and survey your membership and know how your membership would like to vote. It's a very important part of this process, so please spend the time to get their responses back, so that way we know how your membership wants to vote, and then we can have a good national comment. Upcoming topic areas. Next year's policy debate meeting will be a mixed topic year, so mixed internationally and domestic. And the 2023 policy debate topic meeting will be a domestic. If anybody has any questions or comments as I'm speaking through this, feel free to stop. There I see phones pop up. I'll wait a little bit more. The Nfhs has a robust awards program for our performing arts folks here. So the ones that impact what we do here in this group, we have a National Speech Debate Theater, State Section, and National Citation Award. There's a National Citation Award in this group. It is the highest honor the Nfhs gives outside of the Hall of Fame. So those are due to your states. To submit to the Nfhs by November 15th. So I'll get it to your states by way sooner than that. If you have a nominee for them, talk to your state association administrators on how to do it. The NFHS Hall of Fame is the highest honor that we have at the NFHS. And we have some Hall of Fame members in here now. If anybody's a Hall of Fame member, please raise your hand. Usually that's Rich. Okay, so if you're a citation winner, please raise your hand. There's several of you in each. And these are the highest honors we have. We also have an NFHS Part of the Arts Award. Those are due by NFHS by February 1st. We'll talk to your state association ahead of time. This is a great award that shows the embodiment of the heart of the arts. It is not an achievement award to say like the typical, the other two would be on career achievements. This is an entity that shows extreme heart of the arts and what it means to be a participant in fine arts and performing arts program. There's been a lot of things we've had done. So an example, we had a theater director received the section award for Heart of the Arts because he started a students with special needs theater troupe and showed a lot of growth in getting those students involved in the community. There's a lot of areas you can go on that. So check it out on the website. There's a lot of information there. And you can see videos of past award recipients for that as well. Then we have the NFHS Performing Arts School of Excellence Award, which is chosen by one school in the country. And that those proposals for that award are due in May. All right, where are we going next? So we have two cities coming up. In 2022, we're going to the beautiful city of Kansas City, Missouri. And in 2023, we're going to the beautiful city of Portland, Oregon. So Craig Monteifel, since you are the next on the docket, would you like to speak about next year's year?
Everybody. It's going to be a blast. We're actually partnering with Missouri Association, and Matt and I have been in communications for a couple of years, setting this pretty much have a plan in place. If you like barbecue, Kansas City is the spot. I mean, I spend probably, I don't know how many weekends a year in my own backyard doing smoked meat, so I know where the good places are. So come hungry and we will feed you well. And we have some other things planned in Kansas City. It's a great time, and Pam and Mike have helped out planning that as well. So if I can ever answer any questions about the upcoming event, we're looking forward to having everybody in Kansas City to come.
Get your spot on that. If you would like to host this meeting, we do have an east-west rotation. We're cheating a little bit with Kansas City by splitting the states in half. So if you're interested in hosting in the light blue in 2024, please let us know. If you're interested in hosting in 2025 on the light gray, please let us know. We do try to get hotel contracts out about 2 to 3 years in advance. So there's just time on this. So please let us know if you're interested in becoming a state host for one of those 2 years. All right, so we're going to be starting the 2023 process. So what happens in the 2023 process is the link we kept talking about this morning, which is the volunteers to author topic reports and submit a topic area for straw poll vote. We're going to switch over our screens. We're going to see Kevin's screen. Yep, we're going to see Kevin's screen here in just a moment. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a straw poll vote in the room on the interest level of topics that have been submitted. There's no limit to the amount you can raise your hand. All we're going to do is you're going to raise your hand. We're going to count everybody who raised their hand, and then we're just sorted by the amount of interest in the topic. Now, if you want to author said topics, you may do so by talking to Kevin at the end of the day today, and he'll put your name down for a topic that you would like to author. You do not have to say, oh, this one wasn't very popular, so I don't know if you do that one. Any of the topics are open, and even topics that aren't necessarily submitted are still open time to keep that in mind. So we're going to go ahead and switch over to Kevin's machine here. Yep. So what we're going to do now, and don't worry, I will read these out loud. So don't worry. What we're going to do now is just take a vote by raise of hand on the interest level. And if I may, perfect. All right, if I may, Craig, can I pull you in the back of the room to count with me? I just want to get a double count here. So if you want to count that half of the room, I'll count this half. Okay, so raise your hand if you would like to have votes on Africa.
I've got it.
Yeah.
50.
Okay, so that would put us at 32. Okay, on aging. Guys trying for aging?
Three.
Okay, 5.
There are,
Agricultural subsidies.
there are just slow because of the arthritis.
Agricultural subsidies.
30.
Okay, that would be, oh, how many?
13.
Okay, 21. I just do that extra so I can actually. All AI terms of social media.
AI in terms of social.
Oh, in terms, thank you. AI in terms of social media. Twitter bots.
6.
Okay, 12. Cancer and big pharma.
3.
Okay, 10. Civil rights protections. 11. That would be climate change.
13.
27. Again, we have constitutional reform.
11.
25. COVID economy recovery. Nobody wants to talk about COVID. Okay. Have we talked about COVID enough? All right, cryptocurrency regulation.
6.
Okay, 19. Cybersecurity.
15.
30. He was making the math easier. Disaster pandemic response. Don't be bashful. I saw one hand start going and going back down. So 1.
I'm thinking 2, because I think I actually.
2. I need to fill the other 2 boxes. All right, education.
7.
Employment, improved wages and working conditions. 7. Environmental regulation. That's the 2 raised hand. Okay, so raise hand up now. 8. Okay, 21. Environment, oh, sorry. Food security, insecurity.
16.
Okay, so 33. Free trade.
3.
Okay, 11. Global cyber defense. 16. Healthcare.
9.
7. India, Pakistan, South Asia. Oh, nice.
14.
That's 31. Indigenous sovereignty. What's it?
12.
Okay, so that would be Land conservation.
Five.
6. Mental health.
13.
25. Public land management, national parks, resource extraction.
6.
Okay, so 13. Space exploration and colonization.
5.
12. Sports economics. 6. STEM expansion.
2.
Okay, 6. Tech regulations.
5.
9. Term limits. I'm assuming we're talking congressional term limits or just term limits on every. Okay. Term limits.
1.
4. Transportation and revise improved methods of moving people and goods.
There we go. 11.
Okay, 21. Treaties.
Nine.
23. Group deployments.
2.
Okay, 6. U.S. election law.
10.
20. Voting rights.
13.
Okay, so 29. Workforce development.
3.
All right, there we are. Thank you, everybody. So we'll get these posted on there. We'll sort them out by interest level. Again, if you are like, well, man, only 2 people who I want to write on, that's okay. You can still write them. This just shows a general interest. If you just want to write a paper in general, but you don't know a topic, this gives you an idea of some topics that would be of interest to the community. All right, Steal it.
Sorry.
Yes.
So I volunteered to write one, but I kind of want to write it different ideas. Can you switch? Okay.
Just come see Kim.
Now I.
Okay. All right. Next thing we have is upcoming meetings for the Nfhs. We do have an Nfhs speech debate topic, or speech debate theater committee meeting, and academics. Gotta remember to have that in there. That's going to be September 19th through the 20th. That'll be in Denver, Colorado. If you have agenda topics for that particular meeting, please see myself or Jana. So make sure we have those discussed at this meeting. This is a 2-day-long committee meeting. There are several committee members in this room. Nfhs speech debate theater academic committee members, raise your hand. Okay. 2 in Lawrence County is half. So we have that meeting coming up. So please talk to your representatives. If you don't know who your rep is, if you go to the Nfhs and type in the Nfhs speech committee, it'll show you who your representative is by section. So you can contact them if you need to. or shoot me an email. How an email will play pretty quick for that person. Also, we have the Performing Arts Conference, which is adjoined to this. So if you are a district level leader or you are a state leader that we'd like to see at the Performing Arts Conference, it is a great conference to attend for professional development. And then it butts up right against the Speech Debate Theater Committee and goes into the 22nd of September. Also. All right, so we have our business meeting open discussion. One topic I know that is sitting out there is the international actor topic. And so here's where we are on that. After last year's meeting in December, we're going to be surveying the membership and doing a lot of things. However, and this is on me, I put a unilateral administrative hold on that process because we had this pandemic thing that was taking over everybody's thought process. We have to get through that. So we also have time because our next international is the 2024 meeting here. So what we're going to be doing on that is the system that we talked about following last year's debate topic meeting will be implemented, but it won't be implemented until this academic year. Because this is a selfish comment, I did not have the bandwidth to do this. So people hate me for that, and so be it. But we didn't have the ability to pull it off. And I would rather do it right and make sure we have all the information we have than to just that's the inappropriate term I was going to say, than to not put our full effort into it to make sure it's good. So if anyone else to discuss that, we sure may. However, the discussion will basically be, and we will do that when we start the next process. Okay, but we have until 2024. Yep, nope, that's not a problem. So what that will look like is we'll be surveying the Nfhs membership, which is our state associations. We anticipate the membership will have conversations with their members and get the feedback from them as far as what we want to do with international actors. Once we have that information, that'll go to the Nfhs Speech, Debate, Theater, and Academic Committee for ratification for any changes in rotation for the topics. That will probably occur at the 2022 speech meeting, or committee meeting, and that's when that will go. When that process occurs, there'll be a lot of information coming in. Okay? Part of the process that we'll have when we send the survey out will be a pro and con of doing international actors or not. So everyone has a full array of what's going on. Working with Rich on making that happen. And so you'll get a good synopsis of both the goods and the bads, or the maybes. And so that's basically the process. We are a membership organization and our members are the state associations. Okay? And they just does not have individual members. So if you would like to have an input, that is a discussion with you and your state association. And the state association is the entity that has a vote in the Nfhs. Just so everybody knows how that works. Thus, the reason why we did the thing today, here's our delegates by states. And then we have also confirmed with all of your states, if you're here, that the states wanted you to vote for them, and that's how it works. Any questions or comments on that? Did that answer your question? No?
Yeah, I just know that there's a lot of people here first time.
Nope. Oh, I'll answer any question. Okay, so now I just want to get that one out in the open so we all know where we're at. All right, so this is our time now for the community to talk amongst themselves and to me, to Jana as the chair of the speech committee, on anything that this community would need to have moving forward for years going forward in the Nfhs speech committee and academic committee. Does anybody have any new business they would like to discuss?
James, I don't know if this is appropriate time, but I want to make sure that everybody saw out on the table the policy and quarterly, and for access to those publications for your debaters or your state. I really do that, and I believe Kyle loved a bunch up here, and could even sell them to you now. What are they? $28 for set of 4, but they are written by Dr. Rich Edwards, etc. And it gives great bibliography information as well as a real overall foundation for the topic. He's the first one that gets on it. Normally, in every one of these calls has been on since the 1960s. Written this quarterly for 49 years, 50, I don't know. I know he sits at my state tournament in policy debate and research rights in our tavern as well, but just does a tremendous job. Not provided that as an access to the debaters. It really is four great ways to get jump started on research for the tournament, for the topic, et cetera. And I would highly suggest, I bet Kyle would probably, is there still one out on the top? There's still a set out on the top? Just, I'm trying to throw up business for the federation. It's just to say,
Go, Jim, go.
it is really the foundation for debaters. We actually, as a state association, buy a ton and provide them in a policy debate packet for our coaches, because that's how significant this research is and how much of an advantage it comes out prior to someone else. So it truly is a real foundation. And I just suggest that you take a look at it. They did for
Thank you, Jen. I think it's perfect.
Two things. Thing one, yesterday we were discussing some things that being brought up, like driver and mechanical things. I think it would just be helpful if in the guidance documents that we have for the topics of the process, we institutionalize some of those discussions that have happened in the past. So we know what the value of the Oxford comma is. We know why we say one or more of the comma, like all of those little logistical things, I think would be happy for institutional knowledge moving forward, especially as new people come into the process. And we haven't heard those discussions in the past. So I think that would be helpful. I would think that the committee itself could probably share the responsibility of building something like that based on institutional. And two, as we look at the international actor topic, one thing I'd like folks to potentially think about is maybe announcing who the international actors would be, for example, the United Nations. And so then all of the topic papers would be written with that as the actor. But that would allow the community at large to do, would be, especially for urban debate leagues and other programs, even under-resourced schools, is building the capacity then for study and lesson plans of that particular international actor, so that the adoption of that kind of topic would be more accessible and an easier sell down the road in the process of this idea. Any comments on that?
Just style guide is something that we definitely have to check out. We'll probably discuss that in the speech meeting. And then same thing with the international. That'll be part of the conversation. All right, anybody else have any topics they'd like to have for discussion? Going once? Okay. So with that, like Jana said, if you want policy to be quarterly, lunch in the hallway that Kyle can help you with, it is a really good resource. And I'm saying that selfishly, but the NFHS does put a lot in Rich, through Rich, there's a lot of effort and resources into that to make it a good thing for everybody. So please check that out. Otherwise, I want to thank you.
I'd also like, I know you're I just, the party committee and fire topic authors. I'd also like for us to give some foundation to James Bieber for all the work that he does along the
do enjoy this. My favorite meetings this year. I really do enjoy this. Thank you, everybody. It's just nice to eat back with some people. All right, with that, if anybody else has anything good for the order, now is the time. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a safe travel home. Authors, wording committee members, we'll see you up front here. And I look forward to seeing how the national topic goes. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Hold on. Sorry, I wanted to
Hang on.
Yes. I'm about to pull it up and then I just need to know who I'm sending.
Also, if you would like to author a paper for next year, come visit with Kevin for a few minutes.
How do we have that? Oh, there it is. Sorry.
Thank you.
Got another primary. You know the name.
Yeah, Rachel.
Are we gonna do it with our mask on?
No, we'll get- I mean, I've got a right card if you make it. I've been sitting for 3 days.
Oh, they moved me all
Yep.
Give me your link.
No, you're gonna be in. Oh, you and Kyle. Oh, you're gonna do that. Just so you know, you've been a big deal.
This is something.
Did you take a picture? Just stick around here and
It might be under 2 right now. Can I? Is this like a final thing or can I?
It's definitely right.
Yeah. I want the foundation.
Okay, you're on there.
And then I can find my pen.
Yeah, I wanted to just get you.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, that background show.
Well, I don't have.
Yeah.